Welcome back, everyone. 皆さん、お帰りなさい。今日は約21日目です。Is day 121. Still the day before our second peak day, right? So it looks like we have a triple. Oh, yesterday was a leap day because we didn't hit the delay. So now it looks like we have a triple stack. So probably two of these groups on top of our whatever we have going on here. And then it'll be another day. So tomorrow will be a short day. No, actually, tomorrow we have another stack coming up, right? Maybe it's like on Enlightened Master and Guru. And hey, we only did 10 review yesterday. All that was available. So let's get into it right away. Had some excellent discussion yesterday. Had the opportunity to talk about investment management, right? More of a metaphorical investment management as opposed to literal. All right, hop right in. Let's see what we can find, what we can discover. All right, okay, look, it's good. Taberu. Wait. Denpa. Oh, this. Oh, right. Sensha. Sankakugei. Okay. Naoru. 作り方。共同。It takes so long. This one takes so long. Okay, fine. A little faster today. Whoops. How do I do it? Oh. 近々。Okay. 方言。運命。Okay. 競争。命。Oops. 大学院生。 Nope.
心配事。
心配事。ね。
命令。
命令。あ。Oh. Fine. Uh.
落とす。
落とす。
酒飲み。
酒飲み。
うん。
うん。Wait. Oh.
転ぶ。
転ぶ。Oh.
社長。
社長。
怒る。
怒る。
家。
家。Excuse me? Oh. What? No.
休止。
休止。
用意。
多い。Use idea. How does the idea get used? Application. Yeah, idea with use.
"初級」
初級。
心配する。
心配する。What?
考え。
考え。Typos, typos, typos. Hmm.
聞こえる、
聞こえる。Oh. It was fine.
姉妹、
姉妹。No. Just kidding.
波、
波。
不人気、
不人気。あ、
始まる、
始まる。
取れる、
取れる。
手首、
手首。
科学、
科学。
落ち、
落ち。Oops. What? 落ち。Another way to 落ちのある話が、好きなんです。Oh.
一台、
一台。
午前、
午前。Alright.
神社、
忍者。Oh, I'm pausing on this. Why am I pausing on this? Okay, it's fine.
茶色、
茶色。
なる、
なる。Oh, whoops.
神道、
神道。
辛い、
辛い。
教育、
教育。
意見、
意見。What? Oh. 学。
誰か、
誰か。あ。
一斤、
一斤。Okay.
良い
Yoi or E.
中級
Chukyu. Can't spell intermediate, it's fine.
3番目
Sanbanme. Uh-oh. What?
生える
Aeru. To grow. Oh, and then this overlaps with the other thing. Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
共有
Yoyu. Okay.
集まり
Hatsumari.
し
She.
手作り
Tezukuri.
前
Mae.
注意
Dewey.
集まる
Atsumaru.
終わり
Owari.
お姉さん
One-san.
神
Kami. うん
戦い
戦い
不良
不良Uh-oh. Oh.
終える
終える
水泳
水泳
開く
開く
火星
火星
分ける
分けるum alright
音読み
音読み
点
点What? Oh,
親分
親分 How does this work?
Chichi oya.
Gioya. What? Oh,
羊毛
Yomo.
Mokusei.
Mokse.
Yokyū suru.
Yokyu suru.
Senjō.
Senjo. Wait. Hmm. No, I think it. Oh. This must be different. Right. That's why I wanted to wait. Bleeding. Or bleed. Oh, it's not chi. What am I doing? I picked the wrong thing. That's fine.
出血
Shuketsu. Makes sense. Huh. Hmm. I think it doesn't. Oh, no, it does. What? Oh, no, wait. Oh, I know what this is. Oh, ugh. It's not book. I wasn't
一体
Itai. I wasn't even reading the kanji there. No kidding.
顔文字。
Emoji. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. Oh, wait. No? Oh, just kidding. It's
大空。
Ozora. Oops. Heaven. Can't spell heaven.
Kubi 首になる。
Kubi ni naru.
意外
Ingai. Outside idea.
Kubi.
Maybe.
Watashi.
I see.
なくなる。
Nakunaru. Huh. Mm.
見当たる。
Miyataru. C. Correct. And it's a do. Let's see. Ame. Ame no hi. Ame no hi wa kurasu. Kurasu o yasumu. Yasumu hito ga miyataru. There are a lot of absent people in class on rainy days. Like seems to appear. I think this reality, truth, like I think this one has a sketch English interpretation. Needs more. I think I need more on this. Not quite the feel of that sentence. Miyataru. It appears that there should... Well, let's write this down. I think I probably will elaborate and add more phrases to this because I don't think it's good enough. C correct plus aru. Miyataru. Those are no problem. And now it's down to phrasing. How do I phrase this? Pretty sure that's correct. See it correctly. Is there any other right meaning to correct? Oh, success? Right? I think to seem is good. So maybe they're looking at to be found. Yeah, I don't like this. That's not enough. To seem. In fact, to be to observe. And I guess it's intransitive, but we already know it's intransitive because of the ending. I guess we could make it intransitive by saying instead of to seem like. To be observed. Yeah, it's more like to seem like. Like it seems like there's a lot of people are absent on rainy days. To be found is fine, but that's rough the way that's worded. Honestly, no, I'm not. This is not a problem. It's understood in context, but I don't like the way it's written. Either or. I think we're okay with that one. Oftentimes, nowadays English translations are English interpretations are a little bit tougher for me. Okay. Cool. The longer ones are the weirder ones, I think. We're starting to do what we're doing for Chinese. Gotta fill them out. Fill out all the additionals.
共通点
Go to 10.
お茶
Ocha. What? Did I must have typed Soku again. That happens a little bit.
作戦
Saksen.
号室
Osh. How did I know which one this is? Just go for it. No. Wait. Oh, this is different actually. This is direct, right? Fix go, it's direct. Or like non-stop. Non-stop is Gyo. Do we use Gyo for this? No. Oh, no. Nothing changes for this. Pretty sure. I read that incorrectly. So Choku. Yeah, Choko. Cho. Oh.
直行
Choko. And this has gotta be non-stop.
公共
Cho.
落ち葉
Iba. Mm.
私生活
私生活 Zoe is pretty funny. In One Piece, they recently got to the island of Zoe, and it's a giant elephant. Makes sense, right? Pretty neat. Okay.
追う
Ooh.
移す
It's what? Su. Oh, it's not Ru. I'm getting the feel of the Ru and the Su and the Aru versus Keru and the Toru and Ou and Wadus. It's kind of just flowing pretty well on transitive and intransitive recently. Pretty nice. Things are kind of paying off. No.
秒
Yo.
羊
Suji. Uh,
照明
Ome. Town district. Can I get away with town district? The heck? What was the right side supposed to be in WaniKani? I have no idea what the right side is supposed to be in WaniKani. Oh wait, that's a route. Just kidding. Whoops. Contour. No. I was just kidding about that. What's the condor thing? This is recent, right? Oh, she's still root. Oops.
飲み物
Nomimo.
本当に
Hontoni.
店
He said. Okay. Whoops. That's the other. I'm thinking of the opposite.
戦争
And so.
変わる
Kawaru. Oh, I thought I was on the ball for Wadus and then Do wa in trans and trans. That would make sense why I'm a little hesitant on this. It's both trans and in trans sometimes. It's usually in trans by the waru, but sometimes it can be trans. Yeah. Okay.
買って、
Got it. We reviewed this as one pleases, right?
話し方、
話し方。
苦しめる、
苦しめる。Okay. How does this work? Oh no, I have a block. A block? Hold up. Sort this out. Be on the tip of my memories. Why is this one weak? Can't seem to remember. Raise or nurture. The onyomi is iku. Raise. But what happens when grow or no, this is tsu, so to be raised. Oh, to be raised on or to grow up.
育つ、
So that's it. This is the overlap one, but be raised on soda. Not the greatest. Shouldn't be pausing on those since they're fresh in the mind. A little bit disappointing there.
終電、
Juden.
お兄さん、
Onisan. This is different.
言葉、
Otoba. Because it's word. Oh, no. This is red. The kanji. Onyomi is... What The heck? What? Oh, no. This is wrong character. I did this before too. I'm not looking at the whole character. I didn't look at the bottom.
Okiku.
Okiku. In a big way. Okay. Yeah, that was one of the weaker ones, but now we kind of got used to adverbials a little bit, seeing adverbials right away. The heck is this standalone? Koko ni nani de chiku chi Chiku? Check. Oh no, it's cheku. Right. Yeah, check shite kudasai. This here. Okay, so here, check by using. Check by this. Oh, this is weak. I don't even know where I'm going with this. How often is this character used? I think I have... Is this the only one? Alright, so we have 9 and a drop. We can do this. 9 drop. I don't think this is a component on its own. So it would use the 9 and the drop. Right? 9 drop. Oh, I know what this is. I don't understand. It just carries, right, the whole time.
Maru.
Maru. Which is circle. So how does this go back? Is a better question. So maru. So we have marui, right? And maru was introduced as the kanji default, which is kun. Maru. What's something with 9 sides? Just add a drop and you'll have, I see, 9 sides. And then what do we have first? Just maru, marui, and marugoto. E. Okay. It's fine. Oh, and we only really have 4 vocabulary words. That's a little small. Okay. That's pretty weak. So what do we have? Circle, maru. That's it. We really have nothing to work with. We could say 9-sided shape with a drop. But there's nothing that indicate this would be a shape. So that's kind of probably the leaping point. That's pretty weak. Oh, same difference to some extent.
"近く
Yaku.
なる
Naru. Oh, to ring. Because it's a do.
長い
Nagai.
母親
Ahaoya.
鳴き声
Nagigo. Hmm.
活用
Tatsuyo. Utilize? I meant to say utilizing or in practical use. Yeah, conjugation. Conjugation is the other one that overlaps with conjugated form. Right. Oh. Oh.
海洋性
I also momentarily forgot.
運転手
Oh.
生まれる
Umareru. Yep. Pretty good. Pretty alright now. For now, pretty alright.
高級
Full Q.
「基礎
So.
物質
Bushitsu.
光る
Naru.
二金
Nikin. That's not it. That's yoga. Oh, I got one review from the other. Okay.
昔
Mukashi. Okay. Not bad. We got one that was wording, right? One that was wording, which I don't feel. I think to seem like is something that I would hit on far more than to be found to seem like. And then Maru. I just completely blanked on Maru. And it's interesting because there's 3 Marus. And it's only Maru in WaniKani as the other reads. That's interesting. What is that? An hour for 200-ish? It's okay. It could be faster. It could be faster. I stopped on another thing. What was another thing? To be raised was a little bit shaky. Sodasu or Sodasu. That's kind of shaky. Other than that, everything else seemed pretty a-okay outside of your typos and then your jerk reflexes to a specific read without considering Rendaku. Happens immediately after. It's like, oh wait, I chose the wrong thing. Wrong, how I would call it, wrong final. Alright, not bad. I'm in where this coming month is gonna be like about speeding up the process. We're gonna try to be more efficient. Work on efficiency before expanding on something. Monix. Alright, Monix. Early, younger brother, someone, Asia, crab, yoga, jackhammer, excuse, together, beforehand, business, request, tofu, and fix. Oh, I accidentally read no differently. Oh, and then there was the, yeah, I read this incorrectly, the onyomi initially. I was thinking of food, choku, choku, choku and something else. Oh no, jiki? No, I think this is no, this is choku and jiki. Jiki. I was thinking shoku from eating food initially. That was a little bit of a wires cross situation. Okay. I'm actively shedding a lot of mnemonics now to speed up the process. Just shedding and going back to them if I get stuck kind of situation. Goku. Oh, I just blank spaced out on this radical root all of a sudden. On whoops. Kare. You. Cho. I. In. Shima. To. Cho. Zoku. Shin. To. Yo. Hai. Samu. Ha. On. This one's a little iffy. You. Oh. Chaku. I keep reading this as instead of chaku, kyaku, for unknown reasons. Still trying to figure out why I keep thinking kyaku instead of chaku. I mean, kyaku, the closest kyaku is guest. Look at that character and see if there's some sort of overlap somehow. This one takes a bit too. Tan, sen, and go. This one takes a little bit too. Just slight. Then what do we have? Maru. Right. Circle. Which we also have Marui. Round or circular. There's also another thing that's related to Marui. We won't consider that. But Marui, there's another Marui, which is very similar as well. It's related. And then Marugoto. Right? I think Marugoto is written out, which is in its entirety. Yeah, the other Marui deals with round circular things too, like a coin. Coin is the other Marui. Those are all the reinforcements or attachments to Maru. I think the weakest one, we're probably going to do an exercise where we attach, since we're liberating a lot of time, we're going to start creating webs like this, where if something's weak, we reinforce with all the Japanese that's tied to it. Actually, in that case, we might as well go the fastest way to find it. Probably this way. See how quickly. Oh, no. Just kidding. Useful, I know. Actually, is there a way no, probably not. Nope. I figured. How about we use this is gonna I need to know this or else there it is. So oh no. Okay, it's in the first half. So I gotta find out a more streamlined way of doing this in the future, so I can like spot check things. So there's Marui, there it is, with N, right? So for round, I believe that's it. Yeah, so we can still use Control F. I'll need to think of a more efficient way of doing this. Yeah, so something that's round, coin, right? So we have enter here. With Marui, which then gets accented to round. I think those are all the connections that are related. And that's about it. Alright, that's it for today. This is how I'm going to reinforce things. So if there's anything that's weak, usually we haven't encountered anything that's a super blank space. I think this would be the closest to a blank space I can think of, but generally that doesn't mean I can't figure it out. But I want to find a way to quickly wrap these things up, right? So all the stuff that comes that are split seconds or split errors, our gut feelings, those are fine. Like we won't focus on those. Eventually, on a lot of times, a little twitch effects get ironed out when you're reading in context. So when you start reading sentences and hearing sentences, you get primed to think of those things. So usually at that end, it's okay. Like on gut feeling and isolation, it can be 2 or 3 things at the same time, like really fast, but I just cycle through them very quickly and adjust very quickly. Then when you read sentences and paragraphs, you don't really make those twitchy, lots of thoughts at the same time. I get like, when I look at a character, I see like 6 answers sometimes, like immediately. So I pick one, the one that it'd be like immediately I come up with like 4 answers and I pick the most likely one and then go down, right? But when you're reading in sentence and paragraph, while it's leading into that word, you no longer have the need to think of all the stuff. And then for the weakest ones, if they're paused and I get a mistake on them, as in I just have no idea how to get to the answer, then I have to come up with something. But that hasn't happened in a very long time. the closest are these moments where I would stick there and I have a bunch of things I can think of, but it takes a while. So I'm gonna come up with the routine now. It's going to be do everything really quickly, jerk reflexes, typos, that gets ironed out with repetition, and then this is what we're going to do with the ones that occasionally pop up. And it's only 3-day, it's only regarding things that are older than Guru. So Guru and older, we're going to do this, which we form a network using Japanese, and then the English is going to be on the outside. So in here, in the middle is what I'm looking at, right? And this is kind of what it looks like in my head when I think about things. I see that character, and then I see the parts that can be moved and shuffled. And then the parts that can move and shuffle can be added to another thing that's related to that thing. So this is kind of like a shorthand way of saying how I would group these things. WaniKani does not have grouping. The closest thing, or it does have some grouping. The closest thing I can think of when they do this is, what is it? It's like, yeah, very similar kanji. This is the closest grouping. And then the other grouping is in the mnemonic. So what they don't keep track of that. So honestly, it'd be kind of great if there's a way to sieve that. So for example, for this one, every time Ko and company wrote, oh, this is related to this, if you remember this, then you remember that. It should be in another column here. Like, oh, this is related to this. So these things are grouped together. And then predicate grouping. So predicate grouping, instead of saying found in vocabulary, there's a subset where it splits the predicate grouping, because that is a really large group that requires refinement. So things like to be born, to give birth, right? To give birth, to grow up. Those three are grouped together. So that's what we're doing ourselves. Not formally, like I'm not like gonna write all these down or something. The idea is to exercise them as ways to connect them, and then we'll reinforce each other. So if I don't have marui, I could think of something else, maybe like an ending or something, and then there's context sentences. I forgot I didn't read the context sentence for this, but generally speaking, forming this type of network, in my opinion, goes a long way later, where this is when you're absolutely gone and you need to find some way with your context sentences or the visuals or something. Obviously, the moment you start learning I don't know what the better way or the more comprehensible way, you'll probably not have to, this would be kind of make things easier along the way, in my opinion, for myself anyways. Like when you're watching anime, they might be right in front of a circle, or they might even make a hand gesture of a circle. There's so many things that will impart this, but the idea here is we need to get faster on the short stuff, and this is all the information is provided. So how do we use the way we think, or the way I think? So the way I think about these things, how do I use that to remind me of this? So what WaniKani does, or SRS does, is they use vocabulary most of the time to reinforce. And like when they link mnemonics based on their relations a lot of times. So I will leverage it this way, as opposed to trying to think, oh yeah, now when I see this, I need to try to think of a circle, or like a literal circle. But that's for later. If you're gonna tackle like a different type of input, they might just show you a circle and it's like, that's this character, Maru, circle. Which I think the radical stuff has some artwork in them, right? or they're working on it. I'm pretty sure they're working on it. So they're retroactively adding like radical imagery to these things, which may or may not catch up or may not be relevant. But that's where I'm heading now, for like, I don't know what you call it, from level now to level 30. This is probably going to be the next routine that I'm going to add, because it dramatically guarantees that the next time the thing comes around, there will be some overlap for the weak ones. Like, it took me more time to recall this, right, than like 50 things I know. Like, as fast as I go, that 1 minute that I spend trying to get it worked out, I would do 50 other entries. So focusing on a routine for this stuff will pay back a lot in time, and I need to make it a routine that is consistent. So I start the process very similarly, because if that is consistent, then I can do that consistently for anything that comes up, which means that I can invest in a few of these, and anything that's new that's down the line, I would be able to do this very quickly. So I'm working on, so where would I go with this website? I mean, I could make a tool, like I could look for a script or something that allows me to do that. That would also remove the searching time. But this is fine. It doesn't come up frequently enough. I think I'm still at like 98% or something like that. Occasionally it's like 3 out of 200 every day. So it's not too bad. I'm willing to invest some time into doing this. Definitely. The alternative for other people is, oh, just get it wrong, read the right answer, and then hope that your rote memory or whatever will take over. Not my cup of tea. The reason for that, a counter argument for that is, I do this for other types of problem solving. Like, look for connections and look for contrast. Like, I don't have not circular, not round, like a word that means something opposite of this. Like boxy. I don't have a word for boxy. So what I could add to embellish this some more is an antonym, right? And the nice thing about doing it this way is you're not remembering just one word or one thing. You're remembering like 6 things. You're remembering that this is an adjective. You're remembering that this is an adverbial, like a phrasal prepositional phrase modifier in its entirety, and then you're remembering the relationship between maruis. So you're not it's not investing in just one thing, it's investing in the network, right? In the network. So you're setting groundwork. I think that's how I usually build up my rooms in my mind palace, right? Like, try to reorganize, shuffle the things around so that it meets even more meanings. So this can expand to antonyms. I don't know if that's how you spell antonyms. It's not. Does that look right? Well, you know what I mean. Antonyms. And then you can look at synonyms, right? These are more like a special case, but you can also look for synonyms. And synonyms in Japanese, of course. And that's not how you spell synonyms either. I don't know how to spell synonyms. And that is what I did for Duolingo as well, but in a far more complex way, because Duolingo also had particles and part of speech that you have to worry about and constructing and speeding up the theme, right? Because Duolingo is thematic, where, okay, this unit is about food, so everything is gravitated around a story, a web work around food. SRS do not do that. You need a separate routine for that. So this stuff is how I learned English. Like on top of the basic principles of, oh, what does the word sound like, or does it rhyme, does the meaning connect with the sound and the rhyme. That's like really first dimensional stuff. Then you get into second dimensional stuff, which is the relationship between words, and then you combine them into even larger networks that deal with parts of speech and whatnot. So, and what does that build up to? In my opinion, that builds up to conversation dynamics. Although there is a chance that Japanese might fundamentally be a bit different from English. Usually when I talk about conversational dynamics, I'm talking about diction. So like, how do you sound more articulate? How do you sound more serious, but serious in a technical way? And how do you not sound technical? So I imagine this stuff is also true about Japanese. So there's other layers, like maru. Is that associated with when you're describing a circle? How would you describe it? Do you use maru? Or like, which maru do you use? That kind of thing. So there are upper level things, which is far beyond. It's like 5 years down the line or something like that. I mean, I sound like this after more than 35 years of English. Okay, more than 32 years of English. So it's a time thing, but I like investing in this thing. It's one of those things that make me allowed to talk about English analogous to learning language. Like, hey, cue the digression on presumption, assumption, data, research, conclusion, and whatnot. And I think we're gonna start working towards that. I don't have to be incredibly well spoken or fluent in Japanese to appreciate like these type of things, and I quite like it. I think this type of thinking, in my opinion, complements this type of input. Now, when it comes to story and video games and stuff, I have ideas for that too. It's not going to be this way. We're not going to use this type of routine for extracting, like when people say sentence mining and or I'm actually on that side of it, which I'm about to talk about later today after my Hanzahiro session about So to Speak, which is a educational game, and then how that bridges to when I play Like a Dragon again, maybe next year or the year after, how we're gonna extract information interpretively. I do not use this type of literal translational and or like one-to-one type of exacting fundamental pieces when I'm watching anime and reading manga. I'm using interpretation because for that stuff, I'm trying to build a feel for it. Occasionally it comes up in this in WaniKani. If the vocabulary thing is long enough to be like a phrasal verb, which did happen, which is miataru, right? Miataru to me is, it feels more like it seems like, it appears to be that a lot of students are absent during a rainy day. And in the context sentences, I don't really focus entirely on trying to get the one-to-one. If I need to, I can take the time to break down the sentence, right? If I have trouble understanding the sentence, I routinely take a couple sentences, break them down into their parts, so I understand the vocabulary and the relating particles. But most of the time now, when I'm reading and listening to anime, I'm paraphrasing in real time with the stuff. Like, this person said a lot of things, I put it in my own words, and that might not be the goat that people are looking for. People like to think about language in the sense of, oh, if I hear the Japanese, I want to think about it in Japanese. So then the goal, if I had to do that, is, am I paraphrasing in Japanese? I'm not. Not yet. Anyways, in Spanish, though, when I'm learning Spanish, I can paraphrase in Chinese. But that's not necessarily coming from the idea that you have to paraphrase in Japanese in order to get as the first step. So when you start paraphrasing, it's a different skill. Being able to paraphrase and interpret is a different skill. So you do it with the thing you're used to first, and then I transplant it. So at some point, I can start describing the meaning of like a Spanish sentence in Japanese. Or right now, it's more comfortable for me to describe things in Chinese, which is great. Now, the difference in Chinese is that I already have developed interpretive intuitions for it. So, and it's very different from reading verbatim, right? When you interpret and paraphrase and use your own words, you can express it in many different ways. And having enough of a vocabulary will allow you the flexibility of saying, well, I wanted to express it this way. Yes, that also means that someone could come by and say, well, a natural native Japanese speaker would not say that in this way. But the question is, would you be comprehensible? And the idea is, most of the time, if you can explain what you're trying to say by breaking it down, right? So then you concern yourself, in my opinion. Only then will I concern myself with trying to sound native or fluent or what have you, because those, in my opinion, are the steps that I took to the point of my English comprehension. And that both leverages, in my opinion, the adult requirement for structure and routine, and elevating all your existing habits as opposed to winging it like you're a child, right? So, but in one way, you're kind of winging it, but it's combining what you can do as an older experienced person. I think the more you can cleverly integrate something you can do with all your existing experience is an edge that is seldomly easy to answer for an older person. Like, what I mean by that is, it can seem like it's reductive and consistent when you think, oh, children do this. It's largely because children has a very selective bias. Most of them are inexperienced. As an adult, when you go around and swim for your how to leverage adult edge, it would become more spurious. So there's less things in order to make it consistent. Right now, it seems like in order to make studying and stuff more consistent, it's to reduce the spuriousness down to a juvenile level of understanding. And when I mean by juvenile level, I don't mean like an ignorant or like not like a incompetent or ineffective way. I'm talking about to reduce it so that it's kind of like being a child. So you're reducing it to the core foundations of learning, which as a child you spend most of your time learning obligatorily. And then when you understand those things, like for me, at least I think I understand what it's like to learn like a child again. How do you elevate that? Well, you could choose to reject 50% of yourself and keep forcing yourself to learn just like a child. It'll work. It'll work really, really well. I tell you that. However, for myself, I prefer to also be working on my adult skills at the same time I'm learning a language. So if I understand how to learn like a child, then I can do that. But I can do that by integrating as many things I know about myself to affect my routine. So yes, I still use the theory of comprehensible input. Yes, I still use SRS and immersion, but the thing is, you're an adult, so you have a lot of personal experience if you're focused on learning, I suppose. If you're not, then perhaps you're still inexperienced. I think it's lots of the learn as a child, immersion, comprehensible input theory applications work really well with adults who stopped working on their learning methods, as in they stuck to a craft, for example, and they no longer have to exercise learning methods. Those things are very effective because I think ultimately 60 to 70% of their learning capacity are rooted in practicing the things they learned as a child, right? I'm not saying they're childish. I'm talking about they have an adult specialization of whatever they fossilized as a child. So when people encourage them to learn like a child again, like their younger self, it is very efficacious. Now, for myself, I think there is no way that young person of my past could ever come close to my existing ability to learn. So if I were to fully embrace how I learned as a child, it would be nowhere in the universe as efficacious as leveraging everything I know now about learning for myself only, not for like other people. The idea is, if you write down on paper what are the differences, like an arbitrary time, say what are the differences in your learning strategies from middle school to high school to college, and if you went to graduate school, graduate school, on the job learning, first job, second job, third job. If there are fundamental progressions that keep pushing you towards the later stages in your life, going back to an early stage is like, it can work really well, but it also means that there's going to be a lot of friction along the way. You're going to spend most of your time in a different state of mind that you currently are. Now, a lot of people, again, I'm saying, I already said first job, second job, third job. How many people go through 3 different jobs of actual learning? A lot of times their first job is related to their second job, which is related to the third job. So that learning period is not repeated. You don't learn 3 different crafts or skills. You learn the same skill and you move up the ladder on the same skill. So you don't repeat any learning situations. You might have some minor tweaks to your learning things, but when it comes to like academics, you go from college to grad school then goes into postdoctoral periods, and postdoctoral periods go through periods of rediscovery, relearning, rediscovery, or relearning, or discovery, relearning, integrate, like optimization, integration, and then repeat. So they go through multiple periods that they have to adapt new strategies to more complicated topics, and through that exploration, your learning stuff shifts really towards the adult side of things. So yes, it is very great to embrace an early learning style that is very consistent, provided that you're not spending most of your time throwing out all your newer strategies as an adult, right? And the downside about that is that doesn't sell well, in my opinion. It takes like a teacher who is working with you for a long period of time to even grasp. And if they're like a coach, for example, like a teaching coach, like a speech coach, for example, they would be there with you for multiple years before they can optimize their ability for someone who wants to specialize in speech, right? So that to me is kind of like language learning. If for example, if you were like me and I have to spend my entire life constantly worry about interpretation and translation for my parents, like I don't think I've lived a single time in my life where I don't have to worry about how to explain certain things to my parents in more than one language, then yes, certainly learning it as a kid and pretending that you don't know anything and just try to sponge it all up would be an effective strategy. I would say if I had to take a gamble and try to like learn the way that the reductive people that have many success, because I think a lot of people stop learning how to learn by the time they leave high school, actually probably middle school, because by the time they reach high school they're already bored in exploring learning strategies, because whatever they did that worked in middle school probably will work in high school, provided if like I don't think school is meant to fail students, but if you suddenly adapt all the things in graduate school and high school and put it in high school, take all the upper level stuff and put it in high school, then we have another problem, right? But I think kids would adapt to that too, generally speaking. It's not about that in the United States, but maybe other countries will decide about that. I mean, China and Japan has like a really rigid, like a very heavy, scrutinizing, disciplined education system, perhaps a relatively more stringent education system on average. And that created a more dynamic challenge and exploratory thinking. But right now, I think those people who learn a language are already more or less, it's very efficacious to remember what it's like to learn as a kid, adopt all the strategies you once learned, which is coincidental because, or it's not necessarily coincidental. However, the efficaciousness of reductive learning is coincidental, largely because some people understand that the observation is that most people still learn that way. So when you revisit the way they learn by happenstance, it works. I don't think it will still work, but I really, and this is a hot take, because I'm not going to entertain that idea, perhaps out of stubbornness or whatnot. Maybe if I was incentivized to do so, if I rely on all the strategies that people present about reducing the complexity of the way you interact with an input, that to me sounds like tying my hands behind my back and pretending like I never went through college, graduate school, spent many years tutoring people and seeing all the problems that they had, and then how do I fix and try to elevate theirs and learn vicariously. Like, throwing all that experience out is disproportionately illogical to do for me. So one of the hottest takes is when someone tells me, oh, you just got to input only and then trust the process. I don't have to input only and trust the process. I can do that and tons of other things. Holistically, there are so many ways to keep me inputting harder than just the one thing. That reductive nature of immersion learning and applying comprehensible input liberally to so many applications is very, very efficacious for those who have not developed advanced learning strategies. They didn't have to. So naturally, it would feel very at home and efficacious. When I hear someone say, I just watch anime and soak it up and like just let this tool do the thing, my first thought is, how do I work harder? Like, I can do more than that. If the tool is already doing all this for me, I got to do more than that. Like, the idea of making things simpler for me makes me learn less. Largely because it is very easy and efficient for people who don't like learning. And I didn't like science because it was easy to learn or easy to tackle. I love science because it was, quote unquote, unknown, and most of the things I do are unknown to me until I know them. So that's kind of one of those big talking points that it's very difficult for me to empathize with most people when they tell me they love to learn something and they do everything in their power to not learn about learning. They like the results of learning. They want to have instant results. Like, you give up after 3 months of doing the same exact thing. Well, if you knew it wasn't already working, what stopped you from trying to change it? Ease, a limited of learning capacity. I like you, oh, you bought this product, you used it for a year, it didn't work. It's like, so when did you find out it didn't work? Oh, just now. You went through a whole year and there was no developing standpoint that would give you any curiosity to improve or whatnot. Like, the difference between someone who uses a tool for a year and constantly seeking self-improvement, you know, using their experience and adult ability to connect the dots and leverage their experience, is that I would wager most of those adults would end up doing far more than just that one thing in the 1 year period. So I'm kind of curious, and I like to ask someone, if you are consistent, that makes room for other things to add to it, right? It's not exclusive. So I dislike, in my opinion, or not really dislike, it's a difference in mindset when someone says, I stick to this and I stick to this because I believe it'll get me my goal, versus I stick to this, now I'm greedy for more. So when something works, my first inclination is what else works? And then how do I make both of them work at the same time? Right? Obviously, there are going to be times like, oh yeah, but the time is better spent here. That's in my opinion, I'm going to be really direct about this. That to me is a sorry excuse for avoiding self-improvement. Like, what I mean by that is, a sorry excuse is, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like, this is more of a sympathy. Like, it's a shame that you have something that works and you're looking for the best thing and you're not interested at all on exploring all more things that work, and then experimenting to see what combination of things work even better or potentially worse, right? It can be worse or better, to strive for more results that you have an active hand in, like you're actively constructing. So going around advertising your one product, my first thought is, why not more than one product? Oh, you only spend like 30 minutes, you got it down to 30 minutes to learn 10 words. Why not learn 5 words with something else? And now you have 15 words. Do you have time? Like, I mean, you liberated a lot of time. You said this product reduced your time from 2 hours to 30 minutes for this result. What are you going to do with that rest of the hour and a half? And my first thought is they're going to say, oh, I'm just going to double down on the same method. I'm like, I mean, doesn't that method, like, you know that method works. Are you the least bit curious about exploring other ways to do things? So how does this relate to my ending segment here? I'm constantly exploring how to do things, but they're smaller time frame. They're a smaller investment of time than the core. So an adult have the discipline, in my opinion. An older person will typically have the likelihood of the discipline necessary to do this. A child does not. Your younger self does not have a point of reference for most of these things. If I ask my younger self, it's like, hey, did you know that you could connect this with this English word that you have yet to learn? And this thing and these experiences that you have yet to experience in order to make this process even more salient. You don't. So there's a rhetoric, food for thought, right? I think it's been very revealing. I haven't ever taken a class in pedagogics or pedagogy, right? How to learn and teach. Most of the stuff that I've extrapolated was trying to explain scientific topics to various audiences, right? How do I explain the retroviral life cycle to my parents who do not speak English? That would be like the very lowest point. And then how to explain the intricacies of retroviruses to people that know way more than I do, you know, the experts, my mentors and whatnot. And then how to explain to my colleagues, and then how do I educate that to students? Those are different levels. They're experiences that a child does not have most of the time, right? And that to me is how I feel a little bit, have reservations about the short-sightedness of the hyper efficiency dialogue about language learning right now. It really is incredibly disinteresting. It takes in my opinion, this is my personal opinion, it takes the fun out of learning. It's, to me, no wonder learning is boring if the major goal for everyone is to find the one method and then do that until you're bored of it. That makes sense, in my opinion. It checks out logically. It definitely checks out even more so here that people who think you want to take studying seriously, it has to be boring, miserable, suffering, and long, arduous hours, and then bitterly project that onto anyone who's more of a discovery learner. So yeah, I did get criticized for saying that people think that I take learning incredibly casually and not seriously. Like, I don't think that's, and like, if I have to be really real with you, a PhD does not take casual learning. So probably try to take a reality check. The only, in my opinion, the people who don't take, like, as a strong counter argument, I take learning seriously because learning is fun and interesting to me. You take acquiring Japanese seriously, not the learning part. Taking something seriously doesn't mean you pick up your favorite tool and just use that tool. That is not serious about learning. It's serious about progress for Japanese or whatever your target language is. So semantics, I understand, but it requires semantics to counter semantic arguments. Yeah. So when someone sits around and still comes by and gives me a hot take about like learning strategies, I like to think that they have more consideration than one learning strategy, because that would tell me that you actually are invested in learning strategy. Going around saying this is the one strategy to rule them all without showing that you have experience with other learning strategies, that's like a car salesman coming to you and saying Teslas are the only car you need and they have only driven a Tesla and that they work for Tesla. That would be how most people sound, in my opinion, to me when they're trying to sell me a strategy, a learning strategy. You did not illustrate that you had experience in learning. You illustrate that you were successful in learning Japanese. So you were successful in acquiring a language. You were not successful, in my opinion, in understanding the learning part of that Japanese. It's kind of like I will not understand how a smartphone works in the back end because I never did it. Like I wasn't interested in it, but I can get the smartphone to do a lot of things that I don't know how they work. Right. That's probably one thought. It's gonna come up again. These are some of the themes that are gonna go into my so to speak roundup later today after Hanzahiro. So I just wanted to embellish a little bit here. Alright, so that's a wrap for Hanzahiro. If you're gonna watch this later, arigatou gozaimasu, right? You're more than free to follow along. Try WaniKani for a month for free. See what it's like for you and what kind of strategies and things that inspire you with using such a tool. I have been incredibly inspired for so long. And again, as a disclosure, I haven't ever used a flashcard system before or an SRS system, and it is getting my brains running. Like, there's so many interesting things you can do to interact with WaniKani that it makes me think, I wonder what it would have been like if I used such a strategy in college or something, or in high school. I seriously had no idea how I would approach this, but it's great to be inspired to do so. And that's kind of what I welcome. So you're more than free to drop your hot takes, observations like these, and maybe drop a few questions. Stay for the discussion, right? Always welcome. All right. So I'm going to get up, stretch, get some water, and I'll be back with Hanzahiro. Thank you.